So today we are going to be covering the Mahadasha of Saturn, time period of Saturn. And if you're new to my channel and you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my playlist, What Are Dashas in Astrology, and check out the video, What Are Dashas. They're far more important than your early transits. They're the real secrets of astrology. They're the reason why astrologers is able to predict as to when something will happen. And if something is not promised in your Dasha period, looking at early transits will not do anything, because those are not going to be fulfilled. So a Saturn period is a 19-year-long period. And let's find out what happens when you go through this period. Well, Saturn period is probably one period that you must want to have in your life, especially in your prime time. And what I mean by that is between your ages of 25 to 45, or between ages of 25 and 55, you really want to hope that you go through a Saturn Dasha, because other Dashas, other planetary time period like Jupiter, Mars, Rahu, Sun, Moon, they're all about bringing certain situations according to their liking, according to their personality. So when Saturn Dasha comes, this is something that is very much wanted and needed and desired for in this day and age, which is to get opportunity to work. Okay, Saturn puts you to work in its Mahadasha. It wants you to work hard. So what it does, if you were being too optimistic in your Jupiter Dasha, you were sitting home and you were just feeling like, money will come soon, it'll come soon, I'm okay with what I'm making now, it'll come soon, I don't really want to work hard. Well, wait till Saturn Dasha comes. What Saturn does, it ignites this, torch within your engine. It ignites that spark. It says, no, it's not a time to sit home. It's time to go out. It's time to meet with people. It's time to make that opportunity, and it's time to work your ass off. This is what Saturn Dasha really does. It makes you work. It makes you work for what you want to achieve. So if you're sitting unemployed, in Jupiter Dasha, Saturn Dasha will bring you enough opportunities to where you will get opportunity to work in your life. But let's find out what placements are actually good placements of Saturn to give you those kind of opportunities. So what are the good placements for Saturn to have when you're going through a Saturn Mahadasha? Well, one of the best placements for Saturn is obviously the Upacha houses, meaning in your birth chart, houses 3, 6, 10, and 11 are known as the Upacha houses, meaning they grow with time, they get better with time. So anytime Saturn is in these houses, even if it's in a bad sign or debilitated, it tends to adjust to that sign and energy over time and starts giving good results. So let's say if Saturn is debilitated in your third house in Aries. However, by the time your midlife comes, let's say like 35 years of age, or between 30 and 35, it'll adapt to that Aryan energy, and it'll start giving at least a neutral results instead of bad results. However, Saturn does very well, and it loves being in the earth signs, which is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So if you have Saturn in these Upacha houses in the earth signs, you bet you're going to get the opportunity from Saturn to work your ass off. You may not even like that. It'll make you work. Like, you'll just have to go out and work. You'll have to go out and make money. That's what Saturn does. And Saturn gives amazing fruits. Okay, here's the thing about these planets, Saturn and Jupiter. Especially in this astrology known as Bhrigunadi Jyotish, Bhrigunadi astrology, and in Vedic astrology too, Jupiter is a signifactor of giving you fruits based on your hard work in this life. Saturn gives you results based on your past life karma. Okay, Saturn gives you results based on how hard you work in your previous life, or what did you do in your previous life, and it gives you results on that. And when Saturn is in the Upacha houses, you did something pretty damn well in your past life in order for you to have Saturn in here, especially the 11th house and 3rd house. Amazing placements for Saturn. Now, if Saturn loves being in the earth signs, It will also do well in the earth houses, meaning house numbers 2, the second house, 6th house, and 10th house. That's where it also does well. Okay, in 6th house, it can make you actually a judge. It can make you a lawyer. Okay, and in 10th house, obviously, you know, it's a very career-oriented planet. It can take you into finance. It can take you into business. And second house, here's the thing about second house. When you have Saturn Dasha going in the second house, it will separate you from your family, make you very independent, but it will make you struggle in first half of your life because of the fact Saturn wants you to know what it's like being in poverty. And then once somebody knows what it's like being in poverty and it's really not that good, they work their ass off to become that wealthy person. Now, does this mean Saturn will not give results in like Kendra and Trikona houses, meaning houses 2, 4, 7, 5, and 9? No, that is not the case. It's just Saturn needs to be in the earth sign or air sign. You know, it will do very well in those cases. You know, some people, because remember, the Kendra houses, the 1st house, 4th house, 7th house, and 10th house, planets in there are far stronger than any other placement. So obviously Saturn becomes strong in those houses. But the bad placements that will give you some sort of a struggle and, you know, less results of your fruits, it could be when it's in the, you know, 8th house and 12th house, you know, in 8th house, but 8th house and 12th house, it can actually make you a spiritual mystic. It can give you mystical powers. It can give you a lot of interest in the mystical world. Okay, that's what happens with this placement. So what happens is when Saturn is in the 8th house and 12th house, your concentration is going to be in the mystical and spiritual world so much that the material world will suffer. However, you will, between your second half of your life, you will really be inclined towards knowing the deepest, darkest secrets of, you know, of the world. But remember, never judge a placement or never judge a horoscope based on just one placement or one planet and its dasha, okay? Because Saturn could give very good results even in the Shanta houses, 6, 8, or 12, okay? It all depends on the sign that it's sitting in, okay? It depends on the nakshatra it's sitting in. And as far as the conjunctions are concerned, Saturn, it doesn't matter. Saturn can be with Rahu. Okay, Saturn can be with Ketu and it'll give very good results. If you watch my conjunction of Rahu and Saturn, I actually give you an example of this real estate guy who had this conjunction in the 11th house and he's a multi-millionaire. Okay, so don't worry if it's in a conjunction with some planet. Now, remember one thing before I end this, is that your Sade Sati, the 7.5-year transit period of Saturn, and if you don't know what Sade Sati is, check out my videos, okay? Your Sade Sati transit and what it does to you is completely different than what Saturn Dasha is about. Just because you suffered in your Sade Sati does not mean you're going to suffer in your Saturn Dasha or Saturn Mahadasha, okay? These are two different, even though it's the same planetary, you know, alignment, is just one is to really teach you something and one is to actually give you something. So Saturn Dasha, you know, is one thing that you really should want to have, even if it's in bad placement, because Saturn makes you work. And remember what I told you, that even if you have the worst planetary alignments in your horoscope, if you, instead of, you know, going somewhere 10 times to look for a job, you may have to go to 60 times to look for a job, but you will get that. And that's what Saturn does. Saturn says, I don't care what is happening, let's go to work, it's time for you to work, I don't care if you like this job or not, you're gonna have to work. So that's what Saturn does. So guys, this was my analysis on Saturn Mahadasha. Obviously there's a lot more factors than just what I told you, but at least you know the basis of it. And if you're new to my channel, subscribe above, because hey, you're gonna have to be learning a lot more about this stuff. So when you go to an astrologer, you know what he's talking about. That's what my job is. I'm not an astrologer, I'm a researcher, and to tell you what not to do or what to do when you go seek consultation. And if you want to know more about this stuff, check out my link below. Check out my book there, Astrology at the Speed of Light. Otherwise, I'm going to see you tomorrow or on Monday. Bye-bye.